Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितदद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Pranam.
Hari Om Guruji.
Pranam.
Namaskaram Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji. Namaskaram. Hari Om.
Namaste. ज्ञान विज्ञान तृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः. So we are discussing this 8th sloka of the 6th chapter. And Bhagavan Krishna is discussing the topic of Bahiranga Sadhanani, that is the general disciplines to be observed by a person who wants his meditation to be successful. He talked about Samatvam as one of the discipline, equanimity. Then he talked about the importance of self-confidence, Atma Vishwasa hai, Atma Shraddha hai, otherwise called Atma Kripa. I should have my own grace, and my grace is in the form of confidence in myself. I can do it. A can-do attitude in every aspect of your life. Never ever have a defeatist attitude. Even if it is not achievable, put in your best efforts to achieve it. The result, of course, if you have a karma yogi, you will not bother about the result at all. You will be only bothered about your action, which has got to be a dharmic action. Once you are sure that your action is in tune with dharma, principles of dharma, you don't need to worry about anything. So self-confidence is a very, very important sadhana. Then Krishna talked about self-effort. Even though we acknowledge and appreciate the role of Bhagavan in everything, God's grace, self-effort can never be replaced by God's grace. In fact, you get God's grace only through self-effort. You need to invoke the grace of God. So self-effort is in addition to God's grace, and therefore Krishna emphasized self-effort also, which is what we call prayatnaha. Then of course, Krishna talked about the self-integration of the various personalities, the physical personality, the psychological personality, and the intellectual personality. Because all these three personalities have to be integrated, not in conflict with each other. They have to supplement each other's efforts. An individual is a composite of all these personalities, and each personality is capable of positively or negatively influencing the other personality. For example, the psychological personality can affect the physical personality. That's why, people who are depressed, they fall ill physically also. And such diseases are called psychosomatic diseases. They are diseases, no doubt, at the level of the physical personality, but they are caused by what? Emotional problems. Similarly, the other personalities also will influence intellectual personality, thinking capacity, decision-making capacity can be severely impaired by the emotional personality, by a disturbed or a turbulent emotions. So each personality has got an influence on the other personality. And if all of them have to work together, then they have to work in coordination. And the integration of these three personalities is very, very important. And that is what we call self-integration. And Krishna said that if a person takes care of all these disciplines, then self-knowledge is meditation will become easy, nididhyasanam will become easy, and then self-knowledge also will become easy. Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitah. So for such a integrated person, self-knowledge becomes a walkover. He has confidence. Oh, I will just go on studying, doing Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. It's confident that at the end of it, whatever be the time period, maybe not even in this Janma, next Janma, but he has confidence that I will achieve that. And then Krishna talks about the benefit of gaining the self-knowledge, which is in the form of total change of my perspective of the world. And because of the change of perspective, the world is no more capable of binding me, no more capable of shackling me, putting me in shackles. Because according to Vedanta, prima facie, the world does not have an intrinsic capacity to bind me, to persecute me, to torment me. The world or the people around do not have an intrinsic capacity to disturb me. It is I who is giving the power to the world to disturb me. And how do I give this power? By an unhealthy perspective, by looking at the world as in an unhealthy manner. I allow the world to hook me without realizing that the hook or the key is in my hand. If I don't hand over the key to the world, it will not be able to do anything with me. And it is this change of perspective which is brought about by self-knowledge. And this change of perspective can be presented in different ways, several ways. Krishna presents it here as Sarvatra Samadarshanam. He says Samaloštashma Kanchanaha, because there is an intrinsic samatvam in the entire creation. Everything in the creation has got its own rightful place, be it human beings, be it plants, being even non-animate things. Everything has got its own place. Just as in several ornaments, you pick up several ornaments, each one has got its own beauty. But in spite of all the superficial differences, there is one samatvam in all ornaments, which is nothing but all of them are gold. Gold, gold, gold. So even though the ornaments are known by different names, they have different forms, different functions. Some are worn on the ears, some are worn on the neck, some on the hand. There are nama, rupa, karma, bhedas are there, but the essential substance is one only. When my vision is focused on nama, rupa, karma, name, form, and function, I see the difference and plurality. Nothing wrong with that. But that is vyavaharikam. Whereas, when my vision is focused on the substance behind them, I see only gold everywhere in all the ornaments. And that is exactly what the jeweler does. You take an ornament to the jeweler to sell it. What is the money that he is going to give? In fact, he will only calculate the value of the gold in that ornament. He is not bothered about whether it is an antique piece, whether it is a piece which is manufactured yesterday, doesn't bother. He will only see gold in that, and what is the value of that gold, he will give you that money, isn't it? Similarly, the Jnani has learned to see the fundamental substance of the whole creation. Not that the Jnani does not see and appreciate the name, form, and karma of all the parts of the creation. He appreciates them. But his vision is that even though they all appear different, the fundamental substance of the whole creation is one. And therefore, everywhere he sees that Samam Brahma or Sama Atma. And we have seen this idea in the 5th chapter also. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastene Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha Panditah Samadarshinaha. Then he also said, Nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani ste stitah. So a jnani always is established in that samam brahma. And it is this samadarshanam is the change of perspective. So samaloštashma kanchana. And because of that benefit, he is kutastha. Kutastha means unshaken by the experiences in life, like a stoic philosopher. We saw that story of that rich businessman, right? Always remember that story. What is the change in perspective? Change in perspective is The change from the first response of the businessman, what? And after a few moments, adding another word, so what? Therefore, what is samsara? What is moksha? The difference between samsara and moksha is only the difference between what and so what. But it is easier said than done. You require tremendous inner transformation for you. Inner transformation is required. And that is what is achieved by self-knowledge. As I said, kutastaha, unshaken by any experience of the world. And Krishna says such a wise person is yuktaha. Yuktaha means what? Whose all three layers of personality are integrated and who is unshaken in all situation. And Krishna calls such a person yogi. Yogi iti uchyate, he says. He is the yogi in the real sense of the term, because normally we use the word yogi for anyone who is expert in yogasana. So somebody, if he can stand, on his head or do some few exercise, etc., we say he is a great yogi. But Krishna says they are yogis, no doubt, but they are not yogis in the Vedanta sense. In Vedanta context, a real yogi is one who has wisdom, and as a result of that wisdom, he enjoys a type of mind, yuktaha samaloshta ashvakanchana. That is the kind of type of mind he enjoys. Yuktaha means integrated. Samaha, equanimous, same type of perspective. Equanimous mind towards three things. What are those? Loshta means a clod of earth, mud. Mud is called loshta. Basically, mud, so abundantly available, it does not have any value. So the valueless mud is called loshta. Then ashma. Ashma means stones or bricks, which have got some value because you need them to build a house. In fact, many kitchen items are made of that stone, used to be made. Of course, these days they have all been replaced by modern gadgets. So stone has got some value, unlike the mud. Then kanchana means gold, which has got a very high value. So whether it is a clod of earth or mud, or whether it is stones, or whether it is gold, towards all these things, a wise man has got samatvam, same attitude. This is the same thing he said in the earlier sloka also, where Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. Same idea. He is now giving some other example for that here, in order to highlight the importance of samatvam in a jnani. Now the question is, what do we mean by this samatva? We said he has the same perspective. All these things, he has got the same attitude. Does it mean that he will see all of them in the same way? Swami Paramathananda says, if you see all of them in the same way, it only means that there is some cataract in the eyes. Because only a person who has got some eye problem will see everything, because everything will be blurred. He can't differentiate between them. They say you'll have to go to a doctor at the earliest and get it, the cataract, treated, surgery or whatever it is. Therefore, in actual perception, differences are seen. You see, everything is different, but in the understanding, there is no difference. That is called samatva. It is just like, there is a woman who has got 4 children. Two girls, 2 boys, or maybe 3 girls or 1 boy, whatever it is. Now, looking at each one of them individually, she will perceive differences. Differences in their name, differences there in their form, and even differences in their behavior. But collectively, what she will see all of them as my children. That is samatvam. Her treatment towards all the children will be same, even if the child is congenitally, it has got some defect and all that, the child is born with some defect. Child is a child. And how do we understand that samatvam? It is freedom from raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. No mother will have any special attachment. The siblings may complain, oh, you are partial towards this, my brother, or you are partial towards sister and all. That is their perspective. But as a mother, if she has raga, she will have the same raga towards everybody. Dvesha, though, of course, I can't even imagine a mother having dvesha towards her children. So a jnani who is having samatvam, he knows the value of each object and he uses them appropriately also, but without having any raga or dvesha. And if you analyze a little, why do we have raga dvesha? Normally, our attachment towards an object arises because in our perspective, that object or that person is going to improve my status. So when I feel that that object or person will give me happiness or more happiness, give me security, gives me fullness, then naturally I am attached to that person or object. So attachment is when the object or person improves my status. Similarly, hatred is towards that when an object or person is going to decrease my status, reduce my happiness, reduce my security. Then I have dvesha. And a jnani is free from both of them because for a jnani, purnatvam or fullness does not come from any external object. He is not fulfilled because of the presence of the object. His fulfillment comes not because of money, not because of house, not because of his status, not because of wife or children or parents or anything. I am full because my nature happens to be full. And if I'm already full, no object can increase my fullness. No object can decrease my fullness also. We saw that. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham. Just as the ocean is ever full, the world cannot affect my fullness, either by increasing it or decreasing it. So that is the Jnani's approach. So if things come, wonderful, Jnani will feel elated. If things go away, equally okay. He is not going into a depression. Agate swagatam kuryat, gachantam na nivartayet. na nivarayet. Take a case of children. When they depend on us, we are very happy. And when they become independent, they try to go away, we become unhappy. Then only we come to know that it is not the children dependent on us. We are dependent on the children who are dependent on us. See how peculiar, ironical it is. We are dependent for our happiness on the children's dependence on us. And when the children become independent, they get upset. Oh, there was a time when my son used to listen to what all I said. Now he doesn't bother. Whatever I tell him, he takes it into one ear and takes it out of the other ear. He does what he wants. Instead of being proud that my son has grown up to be an independent person capable of taking his own decisions in life, many parents get upset because of this. This is called the problem of dependence. And wisdom makes me independent, psychologically, emotionally independent. And this is the samatvam. A yogi achieves. A yogi in the sense of Vedanta. A jnani achieves. Continuing. Suhran mitraryudasinam adhyastadveshya bandhushu sadushvapi sadushvapi cha papeshu samabuddhir visishyate. See, as I was saying in the earlier classes also, throughout Bhagavad Gita, there is only one central message Krishna gives for your happiness. And it's a very simple formula. What is that? Sama Buddhi. When you learn, when you understand the real nature of the world, real nature of everything, Jivan, Jagat, and Ishvara also, you will automatically develop the Samabuddhi. And that is where self-knowledge becomes very, very important. When we say it is self-knowledge, it is not just about the knowledge about the self alone. It is knowledge about, as I said, Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. That is what we call Brahma Jnanam or Atma Jnanam. So the advaya of the sloka is Samabuddhihi Suhrit Mitra Ari Udasina Madhyastha Dveshya Bandhushu Sadhushu Cha Api Papeshu Visishyate. Visishyate you can bring earlier also. Samabuddhi Visishyate, then you can all that categories, Surat, Mitram, Ari, Udasina, all that you can follow. So Samabuddhihi, he whose mind is the same, who enjoys samatvam. Visishyate, excels. Suhrit, with regard to well-wishers. Mitra, friends. Arihi, enemies. Udasina, neutral persons. Madhyastha, mediators. Dveshya, hateful ones. Bandhushu, relations. Sadhushu, the righteous, right? Cha api papeshu, and even the unrighteous. Same attitude towards all of them. So he whose mind is the same, whose mind excels with the Same attitude with regard to well-wishers, friends, enemies, neutrals, mediators, hateful ones, relations, the righteous and even the unrighteous. That is what is samatvam. Is just now expounding more on what is samatvam. Even not only the objects which he referred to as samaloshtashma kanchana, but even with regard to human beings. Well, that is where mostly we have a problem, isn't it? So in the previous verse, Lord Krishna said that this wise man has got samatvam with regard to inanimate things, jada prapancha. As I said, he said, samaloshtashma kanchana. All these are inert things of creation. So now question will come, okay, I agree. Does that mean that the Jnani has got non-samatva bhava towards other human beings, living beings? That he answers in this verse. He says, not only Jnani has samatvam with regard to jada prapancha, achetana prapancha, he has got samadarshanam with regard to chetana prapancha also, living beings also. Because equanimity with regard to living beings is more difficult. And especially in that with regard to human living beings. Samatvam is extremely difficult because we are bound in raga dvesha. We have got lot of expectations from other beings. So when you are in sort of a contact with each other, we easily develop, either raga or dvesha or krodha or something other. Some emotional impurity we develop. And therefore here Krishna says, a jnani has overcome that Vishama Darshanam and he has gained Samadarshanam with regard to other human beings also. And he lists out a wide range of human beings as a sample. Of course, we can think of any other types of human beings also, but broadly he covers all types of human beings and based upon their nature. Earlier he said Brahmane, Gavi, Hastini, elephant, dog, Brahmin, etc. and including Swapakecha, the dog eater, he took different living beings there. He gave the example, isn't it? Now, so he has dealt with different living beings, human beings, animals, he has dealt with. Then he has also dealt with inanimate things. Now, within human beings, he is now dealing with the different types. How many varieties he deals with? First, he says Suhrit. Suhrit means well-wishers, good people who well wish for everyone, who wish well for everyone. Swabhavena hita ashamsi. Swabhavena, by his very own nature, his or her very own nature, well-wisher of everyone. Therefore, when anyone needs any help, his mind naturally goes to help him. Swabhavena, without any condition or expectation. That is his natural tendency rather. One who is a well-wisher is a suhrit. Then mitram. Mitram means also a good person, but he is not swabhavena hita ashamsi. Sneha vashena hita ashamsi. Because the other person is known to me and therefore I will help. And if the other person is unknown, maybe I don't want to help. So I am a mitra. I am mitra, not suhrit. So the second person, the mitra, is a conditional helper. First one, suhrit, is an unconditional helper. Then the third one is arihi. That's why this particular word in this sloka, you have to split the word very carefully. That is why knowledge of Sanskrit is important in all these things. The sloka said, Suhrin Mitrar Yudasina. So when you say Suhrin Mitrar Yudasina, you don't see the word Ari at all anywhere. We cannot spot the word Ari. But this is a Sandhi. It is a Samashta Padam. Suhrin Mitrar Yudasina. So you have to split it. Suhrit, because Suhrin is there. That Nakara is conversion of a Takara because of the Sandhi. So Suhrit, Mitraha, then Arihi Udasinaha. Arihi Udasina, Ari Udasina become Aryudasina. So Mitra Aryudasina become Ari plus Udasina. That's how you have to split. Of course, more necessary for Sanskrit students who are studying Sanskrit or studied Sanskrit. But for others also, this is an interesting way, exposure to Sanskrit rather. So if you split it properly, you will see Suhrit, Mitra, Ari, Udasina. Ari plus Udasina becomes Aryudasina. Ari means an enemy. Enemy is defined as Paroksham Apriya. The person may not be in front of me, but who does harm. Indirect harmer is an enemy. He may be in front of me also. Then the next type of person is Udasinaha. Udasinaha means an indifferent person. He neither does any good to me, nor does he do any harm to me. In fact, he totally ignores my existence. He doesn't bother about my existence at all. So the one who has got this indifference is called Udasinaha. Vividha Manayor Upakshakaha Udasinaha. Definition of Udasina. When there is a problem or a fight between two people, if I do not want to interfere at all and I do not want to help either of them, then I am called Udasina, indifferent. Next type of person is Madhyastaha. So Madhyastha is Vividha Manayor Hita Ashamsi. So when two people are having problems, and this person is interested in the well-being of both of them. If I am interested in the well-being of only one person, then I will become a Pakshapati. But if I am interested in the well-being of both, I am a mediator, Madhyastaha. Like, the UN General Council or the United Nations body. When there is some problem between two countries, they become Madhyastha. Whether they are effective or not is a different question rather. Then next one is Dveshyaha, the one who is hateful. Dveshyaha, Dvesha Yogyaha, a person whose behavior is such that it will only generate hatred in my mind. The one who has got such a behavior, the one who provokes hatred, the one who generates hatred by his or her behavior is called Dveshyaha. Pratyaksham apriyaha. So arihi is paroksham apriyaha, dveshyaha is pratyaksham apriyaha. Then the next type he talks about is bandhuhu. Bandhuhu means a relative. The one who is related to me through my family is called bandhuhu. Badhyate iti bandhuhu. The one who is connected by family relationship. And finally, sadhuhu. Sadhuhu means a noble person who follows dharma. Dharmika purushaha. Previously, we saw the word suhrit, which means one who is doing some good action to others. But here the word sadhuhu means who lives a life of values. Whether he is helping others or not, he may not, because there is no opportunity, he may not help. If there's an opportunity, he will be a suhrit. But otherwise, beyond this helping, he lives a life of values. Such a person is called sadhuhu, dharmika purusha hai. Then finally he says papeshu, the one who leads a life of adharma, unrighteous person, adharmik purusha hai. So these are the types of people that Krishna lists. In fact, you can find out more varieties rather. Add to this list. And what is Jnani's attitude towards all of them? Samabuddhir visishyate. The Jnani has got samabuddhi. He has got equanimity. Now again, the controversial point comes up. You can ask, how can I see all the people equally? When one person is a criminal, another is a saint. How can I look at both of them equally? Does it mean that I should do namaskara to the criminal also? Therefore, what does this samabuddhi means? So this samabuddhi must be understood very well. We have discussed this earlier also in the 5th chapter, if I can recall, while discussing that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, we have discussed. But being important, it will be useful to remind ourselves of that discussion in this context. This samatvam can be looked at from two angles. One is the philosophical angle. Philosophical angle means Jnani looks at the true nature of everyone, which is Atma Swarupa. Just like as I said, a goldsmith or a jeweler will look at all the ornaments as gold only. And a Jnani understands that all the differences in character belongs to the Anatma, the body-mind complex alone. But behind the body-mind complex, everyone has got one reality, which we call Atma, which is the Brahman or God. You can take it to be simple in understanding simply. So God or Atma is present, is uniformly present in everyone, and therefore everyone is innately good only. There is no criminal in the world. And that's what Pujya Swamiji says. There is no good person or a bad person. We label them as good and bad because of their actions. But per se, intrinsically, everybody is the same. There is no good, there is no bad. According to Vedanta, there is no criminal in the world because everyone is noble, everyone is saintly. Saintliness is the nature of everyone. Nobility is the nature of everyone. And we have got only crimes which are incident criminals or crimes which are incidental impurity on the saintly person. So no one is innately criminal. Everyone is innately lovable, beautiful person. But upon that person, there is some incidental impurity, which impurity can be removed. And on the removal of impurity, even the worst criminal will become a lovable person. Shankaracharya, of course, Viveka Chudamani students can recall this example which we have seen. There in Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya gives the example of a piece of sandalwood. Sandalwood is innately fragrant. It has got only fragrance as its nature. But when the sandalwood is kept wet for some time, it is not used at all. Because of the wetness, there will be a coating of moss formed over the sandalwood. And that coating is so foul smelling that it overpowers the innate fragrance of the sandalwood. And if I am going to superficially look at sandalwood and say that it is foul smelling and I throw it away, I am committing a big mistake. What is required is a little bit of rubbing, cleaning the surface of the moss. So when the superficial coating goes away, it exudes fragrance again. There is a beautiful vasana. And therefore, all of us have got some unhealthy behavior caused by ignorance and error. Ignorance is also removable, error is also removable. And because of the superficial coating of ajnana and adhyasa, we are now foul smelling with raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, acharya. In fact, every criminal has got a thick coating of this. In fact, every one of us has got crime in a milder form or an intense form. And a jnani is one who has recognized this fact. And therefore, his philosophy is simple. Everybody is lovable, and that is the basic. Nobody deserves hatred in the creation. Adveshta sarva bhutanam. Krishna says. Therefore, as far as a person is concerned, everyone deserves love. And upon that person, there is a temporary incrustation of misbehavior or crime. And as far as the wrong action is concerned, even that person does not deserve hatred. The action requires appropriate treatment. The wrong action requires appropriate treatment. The person requires love. He does not deserve hatred. What is required is appropriate treatment. And the appropriate treatment may be samadhana, beda, danda. Even when the punishment is given, punishment is not backed by hatred. Punishment is painful treatment, no doubt, but it is not backed by any hatred. The punishment is given with the good intention that through this punishment, this person will improve or he will get rid of these impurities. It is just like, the doctor's treatment. Sometimes it could be very painful rather. But what is the purpose of the treatment and what is the intention of the doctor? To make the person healthy. And therefore, a jnani's vision is samatvam. And this samatvam means everybody is beautiful Atma, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, Atma. But that does not mean that he will treat the criminal and saint equally. That we must be very careful in understanding. When he faces the criminal, whatever step is to be taken, he will take. If it is advising, he will do. If it is threatening, he will do. If it is punishment through imprisonment, that also he will recommend. But there will not be an iota of hatred in it. I mean, again, we can see the example of the mother and children, Children have got different kinds of behavior. And depending on the circumstances, the mother will behave differently with the child. Sometimes she will be totally loving the child. Sometimes her behavior will be that warning the child that if you do this again, you are going to get it from me. Sometimes she may go to the extent of even beating the child, physically harming the child. The mother does all those things, but there is no hatred in the mother. Whatever be the treatment given to different children, there is one uniform attitude. One child requires punishment, perhaps another child does not require punishment. But there is uniformity in one thing. And what is that? Mother has got only love, 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 love for all her children. Just because she is beating the child does not mean that she doesn't love that child. Or whatever the child has done, so that it should not do it again. Some punishment, some deterrence is required. And this is the samatvam from philosophical angle. Then samatvam can be understood from another angle also. And that is what samatvam is: freedom from raga and dvesha, neither attachment nor hatred. Why does the Jnani does not want attachment or hatred? Because attachment and hatred are forms of dependence alone, which Jnani understands. When I say when I say I am attached to my watch or my whatever it is, I am attached to my cell phone, let us say mobile phone. What does it mean? I am dependent on the presence of the mobile phone for my peace and happiness. The moment I misplace the mobile phone, I become agitated. Oh my God, where is my phone? I will pick up somebody else's phone and dial my phone, dial my number, so that when it rings, I can go and locate that phone. Does it not happen to each one of us? We become so agitated when we lose the phone. Why? Because we are so attached to that phone. When I'm looking for happy moments in my life, I go to the phone only. So my peace and happiness depends upon that phone. Attachment is nothing but what? Depending upon the presence of an object. When I am attached to X, I want the X to be around me, whether it is any object or any human being. So attachment leads to dependence, or attachment and dependence are two sides of the same coin, you can put it that way. What is hatred? Hatred is also another form of dependence upon the absence of that object. When I say I hate someone, I want that person to get lost. I don't even want to see that person's face. I want absence of that person. So my feeling of comfort depends upon the absence of that person. So attachment means I want that person, I want the presence of that person to be comfortable. And hatred means I want the absence of that person to be comfortable. Therefore, both attachment and hatred are dependence upon the presence or absence of things, beings. And a jnani is samaha means he does not have both attachment and hatred. That means he does not mind the presence of things and he does not mind the absence of things also. And that is why he says sadhushu cha api papeshu visishyate. So this is another aspect of a jnani's mind. Samatvam explained in more detail with reference to relationship with human beings. We'll now go to the next sloka. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitah ekaki yata chittatma nirashira parigraha. The Anvaya is Stitaha ekaki rahasi yata chitta atma nirashihi aparigraha yogi satatam yunjita atmanam. Stitaha ekaki, remaining alone, rahasi, in solitude, yata chitta atma, with a restrained mind and body, nirashihi, without any desire, aparigraha, without any possession, yogi, a yogi, satatam yunjita, should constantly engage atmanam, the mind, in meditation. Well, we are all talking about meditation only here. So remaining alone in solitude with a restrained mind and body, without any desire and without any possession, a yogi should constantly engage in meditation. Now Krishna is now changing the topic. With the previous verse, that's the 9th verse, Krishna for the present concludes the topic of Bahiranga Sadhana, the general disciplines to be observed. And he also emphasized the Bahiranga Sadhanam by saying that if a person follows these disciplines, then self-knowledge becomes easier. Because the Bahiranga Sadhanam mainly have to be followed for Niridhyasanam, and without successful Niridhyasanam, the self-knowledge cannot be absorbed totally and abided in the self-knowledge. And by gaining the self-knowledge, doubtless self-knowledge, viparyaya self-knowledge, the jnani will change. He will have a change in the very perspective of the world and he will enjoy equanimity. And therefore, Arjuna, if you want self-knowledge and change of perspective, you have to start with these Bahiranga Sadhanani. And the most important Bahiranga Sadhana is Karma Yoga itself. And as I said, this Bahiranga Sadhana topic is not totally over. Krishna will bring in some more general disciplines in the later portion of the 6th chapter. But for the time being, he moves forward. He is entering now into Antaranga Sadhanam topic from this verse onwards. 6 verses, he says, verse 10 to 15, he talks about Antaranga Sadhanam. Specific disciplines to be observed just before meditation. So, Bahiranga Sadhanani, we said Samanya Sadhanani. Now, this Antaranga Sadhanani are Vishesha Sadhanani. While Bahiranga Sadhana is to be observed throughout all transactions, Antaranga sadhanani need not be observed throughout the day. They are to be observed only before we have actual meditation, just before the meditation. And this Antaranga sadhanas, Krishna discusses 8 stages or 8 steps. If we observe these steps, then meditation will become very effective. And without these steps, meditation will not be effective. We may just be sitting with closed eyes for some time, but everything other than meditation will take place. The meditator will not get peace of mind, and nor others will get peace of mind also, because this person is quiet. Other people will get peace of mind, rather. Sorry. Meditator will not get peace of mind because agitated mind, but because he is quiet, other people will get peace of mind. Now, that is useful. That will be the only effect of meditation. So, what are these 8 stages or 8 steps? We will see in the next class. Okay, I'll stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much. Dhanyavadah.
Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskar.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Harihi Om.
Dhanyawada, Guruji.
Thank you. Dhanyavadah.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Yes, Satya.
Yes, yes, Guruji. Thanks a lot for the great class, Guruji, first of all. Dhanyavada. Guruji, so my doubt is that in current Kali Yuga, we see that there are so many criminals who are not exactly criminals, Guruji. They are not penalized by any court or something, but the kind of crimes they delegate the crimes to others, and they are the crime makers actually. We see them on everyday basis, and they must have also come across a lot of people who would have tried to educate them at some point of time, Guruji, but they are habitual offenders, and we see.
Sorry, voice. The voice is trailed off.
Please unmute.
He's gone on mute.
Oh, sorry, Guruji. I think I accidentally clicked on that.
Yeah, it went to mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Continue.
Right. So they might not be exactly under the bar. I mean, inside the bars, Guruji. They might be even in the public. They might be in the governing bodies. So there must have been some people who would have tried to educate them, but or give compassion to them. That could have changed the line. But in this Kali Yuga, we actually see that the number is more and more increasing. And when that trend is going, in this direction, Guruji, so how do we, as a person who is trying to treat everyone equally, and as you said, it's not that we treat equally, but we see the inertness in them. But how do we bring that, Guruji? Because the more and more time passes, the more and more we see the selfishness and ever growing vengeance and evil and all of these coming out with all these modern tools and many modern diplomatic ways, Guruji. So how do we view this from this angle?
I'll ask you a question. You have been to hospitals, right?
Yes, Guruji.
Lot of patients with different diseases.
Yes, Guruji.
What is the attitude of the doctor towards all of them?
Yeah, it should be the same thing.
It is same.
Yeah, it is same thing.
Whatever be the disease, right?
Right.
From a small, infection to maybe even cancer, etc. The doctor's approach is the same towards all.
Right, Guruji.
He gives the patient medicines depending upon what their ailment is, correct?
Right, Guruji.
Now, there may be some patients who are 1 dose or 2 doses of medicine, they may become all right.
Right,
There may be patients who, any amount of medication you do, surgery you do, the problem persists.
right, Guruji.
But just for that reason, the doctor will say, oh, this is a useless patient, this is a good patient. No. For him,
Right,
patient is
Guruji.
all same, right?
Right,
And this we will not be appreciated. In fact, if you are a doctor, probably in respect of patients, you may be able to observe this.
right,
But in respect of other relationships, you will not extend the same philosophy.
right, Guruji.
Your family
Right.
and all that. Why? Because we cannot appreciate this. What are we are talking about is from the perspective of a jnani.
Right, Guruji.
We are still, work in progress.
Right, Guruji.
The project is not complete. We are all still full of ajnanam only.
Right, right, Guruji.
Even ornaments, which is a very, very blatantly visible thing,
Right,
we have preferences, isn't it?
right, Guruji.
Design, oh,
Correct.
this design is beautiful. I want to buy this. Raga.
Right, Guruji. Raga.
So, whatever we are talking about a jnani here is what the final situation will be.
Right, Guruji.
Not what we see. Our thing is, if we understand the goal, then we will move towards that goal.
Right, Guruji.
If we say, no, this is how the world is going to be,
Right,
we don't make any attempt at all, we will remain ajnani, birth after birth after birth, isn't it?
right, Guruji. That is true.
So the whole process is now, right now, exposing ourselves to this knowledge. And this is what the knowledge will deliver at the end. You like it, you like that kind of a thing. In fact, intrinsically, we want to be samatvam with samatvam bhava, isn't it? Every
Right,
one of us has got a samatva bhava towards something. As I said, a doctor has got towards patients, a mother has got towards children.
right, Guruji.
So the
Correct.
samatva bhava as a trait is present in every human being.
Right,
You express it also in certain situations.
right,
When you were a child, you had different toys, correct?
right, Guruji.
There were some toys which will make some noise sound, some toys will jump and all if you give key or put a battery. The train toy will go round and round and round. And you had preferences, raga towards some toys, dvesha towards some toys and all that, right?
Right, Guruji. Right,
You go out of the childhood stage when all the toys are brought together.
it
You
looks same to me.
have the same attitude, right? Toward the
Right,
toy.
Guruji. Correct,
So
correct.
outgrown that raga dvesha for toy.
Yes, sir. Nice. Makes sense, Guruji. Right,
So every one of us, if you sit back and contemplate, you have that trait of samatvam in you. All that Vedanta says is extend it, go on, extend it, and cover the entire universe with that samatvam.
right. So I might be wrong with my interpretation, Guruji. So should we start becoming a little bit indifferent to a lot of things and not react to things immediately, right? I think that should be a start to this, Guruji, or
Well, I mean, it depends upon one's approach, but Vedanta does not teach indifference. It says acceptance,
acceptance. Okay, okay, okay.
inclusiveness.
Inclusivity. Okay, okay.
When I see a cancer patient, do I have a dvesha towards him?
No, no, definitely not.
Don't have, right? Because
Right,
you
Guruji.
know that cancer he has got from outside.
Right, Guruji.
It is not his intrinsic nature to be, he was born a healthy baby only.
Right, Guruji.
All along he was very healthy, but just because now he has got cancer, he does not become a bad person or a
But
non-lovable person. Correct?
right, Guruji. Correct, correct.
Similarly, a person is not, nobody is born as a criminal.
Right, right.
Like they say,
Situations make
people
them
are
maybe.
born with a silver spoon. Nobody is born with some knife or gun in hand, right?
Right, Guruji.
Everybody is born, but circumstances, life, and things like that and all That is what they make him criminal.
My one more question is, Guruji. So vasanas also play a part here, right?
Vasanas play, because if you are criminal in this life, that criminality tendency is there in the body mind complex. It gets registered in your Sushma Sharira.
Sushma
You carry
Sharira.
it forward.
Right, Guruji.
But these vasanas are also treatable. I mean,
Right.
just
Correct.
because you have got a vasana does not mean that endlessly, birth after birth, you will carry on that vasana.
Vasana.
Isn't
Right,
it?
Guruji.
So,
Right. Correct.
whatever you have got in your vasana is not what has got come embedded in your subconscious.
Right, Guruji.
So,
Right.
Vedanta allows you, meditation is all about that only. Bringing up each issue which is there in the subconscious, dealing with it. The
Right.
problem of the vasanas is they have never been dealt with. That is why they are subsisting.
Right, Guruji. Correct.
If you pick up each vasana, if you are aware of that, and then you deal with it,
Right.
then that vasana in this birth you can get rid of, and in future it will not continue.
Correct, Guruji. Right.
So Vedanta says that look at the situation objectively and deal with the situation instead of actually, like they say, throwing the baby with the bath water kind of a thing. That is not required. You cannot.
Right, Guruji.
Baby. Baby is beautiful. Bath water
Right.
is dirty. Throw the
Right.
bath water. Baby, you clean and take it out. That is what Vedanta is, and which nobody can dispute.
Right.
As rational human beings, we do it every day. That is how our behavior to our children is. We want to correct them. We want them to become good citizens of this world, isn't it? Help others. All the good values we want to build in our children.
Right, Guruji.
Despite the fact that they may have some of these because of their vasanas, correct?
Right. Correct.
That's why we find small children also behaving in a very, I would call it, violent way.
Right.
From where the violence comes, a baby is not taught violence when it is growing.
Right. It's from the vasanas, Guruji.
It's from
Right.
vasanas only that violence comes. But
Right.
because of that, do we not love that child? We try to
Right.
correct that behavior.
Vasanas. Right.
Similarly, whatever may be the criminal, if we understand this, because
Right.
one of the things that we must understand is most people develop criminal tendencies because of rejection by the people.
Right, Guruji. That is true.
They want to be loved, they want to be accepted, but then because of the other people's raga dvesha, these people become criminals because they feel rejected by people.
Right.
So this is a very big topic. In fact, I mean, we can discuss it, but if you understand, if you get the crux of the whole matter, and that is what a jnani does. A jnani understands this very well. This is how the world is going to be. That does not mean that because this fellow may be a criminal and a jnani will go and hug him, oh, you are lovable and all. No. Jnani will treat him the way he is to be treated. I mean, if somebody is having a lot of diseases and all, we can't go and hug that fellow, isn't it? So maybe contagious disease and all that we will also get rejected. But for that reason, you will not hate that person.
Right, Guruji. Correct.
You will not be unacceptable like that. You will be acceptable. Everybody will be acceptable. That is what a jnani's attitude is. And we have to travel long more distance to come to that. But at least we have a guide map. We know this is the destination. This is how we have to proceed.
Right. Yes, Guruji, as you mentioned, I think we still have a long way to go to understand that, to attain that kind of mental equilibrium, I will say. So,
but long way, don't take it in terms of long way in terms of time.
Time, Guruji,
right. In terms of our understanding, time it may happen even tomorrow. Don't know. We don't know.
Right, Guruji. Right. Yeah.
Because it is, as I said, we saw the example, like a camphor buddhi.
Right.
You bring the fire near it, it will burn. It will happen rather. We can't say, we can't say, no, this is going to take 10 janmas for me to do and all. Nothing.
Right. I don't think, yes, Guru, I think this is never quantifiable actually. We can never say that this timeline.
never
Right.
say that. We have seen people, I have at least seen students
Okay.
very poor in their studies in school.
Right.
Later on, you see their PhDs and
Right.
so
Yes,
how it has
Guruji.
happened? If you judge them and when they are in school, you will say this fellow will turn out to be a totally useless fellow, good for nothing.
Right.
You see
Right.
them, I mean,
Right.
brilliant. When all this change happens, we don't even know that.
Right, Guruji. Correct. Correct.
So these are all when we look at different aspects of life, different people, different situations, and all. Our own, I would put it, attitude changes towards all this.
Changes. Correct. Correct, Guruji. Right.
That is what happens.
Right. Right. Hari Om, Guruji. Thanks a lot for this answer, Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else is there? I thought somebody had raised the hand. Arun Kumarji, you had raised the hand?
Actually, yes, Guruji. Thank you for the session. There's something similar question to what the previous person had asked.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's in the long journey. While we do see examples of visible examples of somebody being right or wrong, mostly it also happens that they do have thoughts which we cannot perceive. And what do we do exactly by acceptance? Suppose somebody has an evil design who is not exactly a criminal. So how do we, at the same time, how do we get that equanimity in terms of, first we have to defend ourselves to protect, and then exactly how do we travel this path towards the goal? I'm not actually clear. Even the answer was you had already given, Guruji, but I think I'm trying to get a practical handle
I
for me
understand.
to guide, because otherwise the entire purpose of the learning, unless we practice some parts of it in our daily life, what to practice first? We may not.
Yeah, that's a very good question. In fact, we need to have certain practical approach towards all these things, right? I'll give you an example. Take the case of now, did you go for voting for elections?
Yes, Guruji.
You did. Okay. The person for whom you voted, do you know that person, whether he's a good person, bad person, whether he is a criminal and all that? Do you have any idea from whom you voted?
We checked out, nowadays they are listing the details about the person. So first is I happened to vote to an ex-governor. So part of the equation was solved, and then but she didn't win either way.
What I'm trying to tell you is practically, still we go and vote for such people, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
on
Yes,
what basis we will compare that person with other persons?
relative
Relative,
basis.
right? So on a relative basis, we will say, okay, I choose this person. Where relatively, to the best of my knowledge, is the best among whatever it is. But we always have got one thing: all politicians are corrupt. All politicians have got some criminal background, something, right? There may be a few exceptions. But
Correct.
apart from those few exceptions, there is a generalization that everybody is there. For that reason, do we boycott elections? For that reason, do we say, no, this person is not there? So whenever we come across such situations, for example, you have lost something.
Yes.
Something valuable you have had, you have lost it. Now, there are two reactions. You can sit and cry about it, right? Or you can say, look at somebody, oh, that fellow lost that thing. I have only lost this thing. Comparatively, I am much better than the other person, right? My mother used to always say, what came to take my head has gone away with just the hat. Tamil, தலைக்கு வந்தது தலப்பாகையோட போச்சு. So whenever we have got these kind of problems, I mean, I'm giving an example of an object being lost, or it could be a person. If we actually compare it with somebody or some person who is worse than that, then this becomes acceptable to that extent. This person becomes acceptable to that extent. In fact, when I see, some children in the neighborhood and all misbehaving, I immediately say that why should I not not accept that child? Because I have seen my own child behaving in a similar manner on some occasion earlier, right? Now, when I am accepting my child, why should I not accept that child also, right? So slowly, you expand in your mind through these comparisons, through these kind of, this thing. At the end of the day, actually, even when you lose things, it actually doesn't matter. The momentarily we may have a sort of a emotional turmoil, and we will feel it's a big setback and all, but world goes on. Dearest of the dear people die. At that time, few days, everybody beating their chest and say, "Oh, what am I going to do without this person? My whole life is gone." Blah blah blah. After 15 days, they will be going for movie halls and things like that and all. So there is a way, inbuilt system to tackle with all these things. Each one of us has got. We just have to invoke that system as much as possible, practically saying, I'm saying. So that is the practical thing that, could this have been worse? It could have been worse. At least I am saved from that worse situation.
Correct.
Or this person is behaves so badly with me. See, these instances are very, very common. Normally, what happens when we have interacting with somebody, it's human tendency to look at the negative aspects of that other interaction.
Correct.
It is a natural human tendency.
Correct.
But
Correct.
you will, if you sit and recall that the same person would have been very nice to you, or very good tendencies you would have found in them earlier. But what do? We forget all these, and especially between the spouse and the fight take place, they totally forget what each one has done for other throughout the life, 40 years or 50 years of married life. Still, they will fight like cats and dogs. Why? Because they forget everything that they have done for each other earlier. So it is those things when you actually bring into the picture. When the equation is going out of control, you bring that is aspects into the picture, then your mind will settle down. See, this is one thing I am complaining about. So many things that other person has done for me. He has been good to so many people. Now again, another perspective I will add. There is a person who is a criminal as so far as society is concerned, because he goes and robs people and things like that and all. I mean, a typical Robin Hood character. But he is going and he is not keeping the money for himself. He is distributing that money. He is helping so many poor people. He is helping them. Now, whether he is a criminal or not a criminal, can you judge? Whether he is a saint or a criminal, you can't judge. For a set of people, he is saint. For another set of people, he is a criminal. So all these things are all relative, right? From my perspective, if I am going towards Jnanam, and this is what the Upanishads teach me, where the Bhagavad Gita is teaching me, I will ignore all these things and say, from my perspective, because whether the other person is a criminal or not criminal, your acceptability is for yourself, for your peace of mind, for your peace security. You are not doing it for the sake of other person. Understand? So when you focus on your own self, I am doing this, I am accepting everything, the criminal also I am accepting, a sadhu also I am accepting as equal for my sake. Not that I'm giving a certificate, okay, you are not a criminal and nothing like that. Nobody else, the society, family is affected. It is for me. But I want to get rid of all this hatred, all the impurities I want to get rid of. This kama, krodha and all I want to get rid of. What should I do? I've got a manual here in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan Krishna himself is giving me step-by-step guidance what I should do. Maybe there are some details missing. I will, with my knowledge, with my wisdom, I will add those details. And every individual is separate. My approach may be different, your approach may be different, but if the goal is the same, we will all come up with the solution. Isn't it? So this is how practically we can do, and it may take time, as I said. But every day, and that's why I can tell people, every day morning or at the time of going to bed, ask yourself, have I been a better person today than what I was yesterday? That is what is the real progress in life. Don't compare yourself with anybody else. Compare yourself with what you were yesterday. Today, are you better in terms of what you want to achieve? If that is answer is yes, blindly go on that path. You will reach the goal. That's what you have to do. Okay. Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Yes, Sulekha ji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Stay.
Thank you for today's class. It was very profound, I found, in that what you had been speaking of, there was both a sacredness to it, but also the temporal, which is the practicalities that you've discussed and the examples that you've given both in the class and satsanga. My question is more of a comment and getting your thoughts on, as you were speaking, in my mind in the past few weeks as well and months, I've been coming across this phrase, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that the world is one family. And as you spoke today, it seemed as if there was a real connection to what you were speaking and what was being said in the Bhagavad Gita to that concept. And in my own mind or in my own focuses, I have been trying to bring that thought to the forefront in everything that I have been doing, so that the people that are known and also unknown have been not necessarily treated equally, but that they're the same approach to both. And I'm wondering, from your perspective and from your expertise, is there a connection between what you had been speaking of today and that thought of we are all one family, and how we are with one can determine also how are we with all, that expansion has continued, so that the attachment doesn't happen, that the attachment dissipates, but the expansion grows. Is this a correct understanding, Guruji?
Absolutely. That is what Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is nothing but Samatva Bhava. Everything, and in that Kutumba, it is not just the family or human beings. You are including everything. Moon, stars, everything. You are in the whole cosmos, you are including in that. They are all a part of a family. Why family? Because normally we are attached to our families. We tend to treat everybody in the family as equals, right? So we must not focus on the family part of it. Family is only a sort of a phrase used to express an equal treatment towards all others. So when we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the entire cosmos is one family. Treat them as one family. Have the Samatvam Bhava. Everything is same. Just because there is a mud which is valueless, don't think that it has got no value, so you can ignore it. Even that mud is sacred. Everything is sacred in life. Everybody is sacred in life. And that is our entire culture is like that. The reverential attitude, the inclusiveness in our culture, you cannot find in any other culture. Sanatana Dharma talks only about total inclusiveness. And that inclusiveness is brought about by reverential attitude towards everything, be it a bird, be it an animal, be it a human being, be it, what the plants. That's why we worship everything in our culture. So, what your understanding of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is nothing but another way to express Samatva Bhava, treat everything as same, which is what Krishna is saying again and again and sloka after sloka. He doesn't get tired saying Samatva Bhava because that is the secret. If you want to be eternally happy, continuously happy, without any tension or any this thing, Samatva Bhava is the only way out. And all these things we are talking about, self-knowledge, Brahman, Atma and all that, they will be meaningless unless you develop this first. And that is why he has put it as Bahiranga Sadhanani, which has got to be followed throughout, irrespective of whether you are doing meditation or not meditation. That's the importance of the Samatva Bhava. So,
Thank you, Guruji.
is correct. I mean, in the sense, it's only Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam is one expression of this Samatva Bhava. That's all. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question? We can close the session. Okay, I guess no hands are going up. So I'll see you next Saturday. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om Guru.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you.